Okay, hello everybody. So practice. No, I am showing you the summary of the thing that kind of the topic that should be relevant for the midterm exam. You need to know this thing. That is a kind of the thing that you have to know. Well, filter, select, and a couple of other things that we are going to discuss today, but that in fact we planned to do it last week. And I want to give first a comment about homework 4 because it was, I mean, more interesting. I will not say better because I had a problem that I didn't expect, but it was very interesting. First, because a lot of people answer kind of the most successful homework in terms of how many people did something. That is good. And also, I very much like that I see different solutions. Some are more clear than others. Because it shows a different way of thinking and different way of, how can I say, understanding the problem, no? Different way of modeling. And maybe different understanding of the class, and I can improve some explanation. So first thing, the solution is was very straight initially because I give you two variables, one called valid value, that it was true when the value was not NA, and then a second called first three letters, which were essentially optional, but make it easy to solve most of cases. So you have cases like this. And when we create this, also making uppercase. So if the first, I mean, you have to check the data. No, this was not obvious automatic. You have to be careful. And but most people realize that the first three letters ADA corresponded to Adana, and so several cases. And there were some special cases. For example, the one started with Tur, were not very clear. It could be Turkmenistan or Turkey. So there were some kind of special cases that to be handled. So just want to notice the difference here. We are only looking at the first three letters. And in the special cases, you can take a look at all the value or some part that you choose. But in general, you have two extremes. One is you make something very specific, that the text has to be exactly equal to Turkmenistan. That is very specific. Or in the other case, you make it kind of general, like the first three letters, and you don't care about what happened after. So if you are very generic, very, let's say, loose, you will match a lot of cases, and it will be easier because you change a lot of cases in one step, but you have the risk of changing too much. So you have to play with this, how much specific or general you want to do. Okay, there's not a fixed rule. In fact, if you remember when we did it in the last class, I was trying with 5 letters. But later, people convinced me that 3 letters were enough for most cases. Now, so some people did kind of in the long way, which probably they were looking at the class and not on the homework. When we did in the classroom, I mean in the session last week, I had this code that I later replaced it with this valid value. And also this substring from 1 to 3, I also stored in a variable. So it was easier to use this new external, what is the name, auxiliary variables. It was much easier to use them because essentially you calculate this formula one time, and then you calculate this other formula one time, you store the result in this variable, and you don't need to check it again. Oh my gosh, what happened here? And it's not big problem, but it was simpler I mean, this is a good solution, but it was better to use the predefined variable. And the only thing that is kind of not good here is that in this solution, the city is with all caps, Mula. That is in general not a good idea. And the reason is this: if you have it with small and big caps, like for example, like here, Adana, the first letter should be big caps, uppercase. The rest should be low. Same with the country name. You start with the uppercase and the rest is lowercase. If you write like this, it looks nice. It looks clear. It's kind of the way that we write. If you want to make them uppercase, it's not hard. We have a function to upper that essentially will transform this to uppercase. So if you have lowercase, getting uppercase is easy, but it's not easy the other way. If I give you this Mula with uppercase, how do you know which letter should change to lowercase and which should not? Just follow me, no? Like, in general, some letters are uppercase and some letters are lowercase. In some cases, you can kind of guess it, but in general, it is much better to keep your values directly in the way that is more practical. And if you need them in uppercase, you ask the computer to translate to uppercase. Okay? Any question? No? Move the head, say something. If you are not using camera.
Question.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Okay.
But if we don't use valid value, what happens?
If you don't use valid value, it happens that part of this vector will be an A, not available. And you remember that when you have not available, all the combination will become not available. And essentially you have an index that is not true or false will be an A, and it kind of messes all the index.
Okay.
Remember that we can use logical vectors as indices, and they can be true or false, but if they are not available, essentially the system doesn't know what to do in that case. So yeah, this is something that we have to be careful. If we have missing data, we have to handle it in a special way. I mean, in any case, you can try. There is no reason for not testing. If you have this kind of question, the real solution is that you go, you test, and you see what happened. In general, computers don't get broken if you do things. You just do your thing, and if you have an idea, you test. That is the best way to try. You test, you do experiments. In computing, experiments are free. I mean, you don't need reactive, you don't need a lab, you don't need anything except time. And if something doesn't work, well, you restart. So don't be afraid to experiment. So well, good question. What happens if you don't use? There was an unexpected problem that, in particular, Zeynep did. Yeah, one of the Zeyneps asked this question, and it was surprising to me because I didn't expect it, and I had to read it. And essentially, the point is this: when we have this non-English, in this case Turkish character, then this comparison didn't work. And I was super surprised because I didn't expect this to happen. And in my computer doesn't happen, in many computers doesn't happen because I'm not using Windows. It's something that happened only in Windows, and it's not very good. So I searched about it, I investigated it, and I found that the basic problem is the way that Windows represents non-English letters. Essentially, there used to be many standards, like different countries have different rules, and it was a big mess. So some time ago, there were a super standard called Unicode that in our case is we have a sub part of that standard called UTF-8. And most, I mean, all real professional systems use UTF-8 because it's the one that you can write English and German and French and Spanish and Turkish and Chinese and Japanese and Arabic and Sanskrit and Klingon. You can write everything in UTF-8. In particular, emoji. Emoji exists because we have a UTF. Unicode is the institution that defines what are the emojis. But Microsoft Windows doesn't use Unicode in all places. It uses in some places, but not in all places. And they're kind of this mix that sometimes they use, sometimes they don't use. It's kind of confusing. So, in fact, if you can click here and you get this slide that this is from this year, from May. And the discussion essentially says that in Linux and Mac, everything is UTF and work well, but in Windows, you have problems. And in the last version on Windows 10, they are starting to change, but it's not yet finished. And they are discussing here like how it should work and how it happens in some cases here. I mean, it is more than you need to know. Essentially, the bottom, I mean, I'm putting that just in case you want to know, but the bottom line is that the combination of Windows and R and non-English is bad. You get into trouble if you do that. And I'm saying not English because it's the same with French or Spanish or Arab or Chinese or whatever. So, and some people get, for example, if you have your folder name is with non-English character, you also run in problems if you use Windows. So my option was not to use Windows, but you probably have a computer with Windows that you use for other things. So I understand that it's not easy for everybody to change. So my advice is try to avoid non-English characters. I know that is sometimes complicated, and we can explore later if there is something else we can do. But it's well, the other option is not using R. Yeah, if people eventually use Python or something. But for now, the simple way is write in English. If you just choose your variable names in English, they will have English characters. No? You don't need to worry about that. Something like that. Fine. Any question? And the other solution, the other part of the solution is you see here. I essentially did my version of the homework. I learned the cities from you. I don't know the cities in Turkey, so I saw the answers to make that part. And I made a tidy up version that if, let's see, I hope it is in the correct place, otherwise I send you. Yeah, so this is essentially the same that we had before. Can you see? Shall I make it bigger? Zainab,
I can see.
But Zainab is kind of. Shall I make it bigger? Yeah. Say ask. Asking is free. So first, this is text file, and every column is separated by tab. And the main difference is that the birthplace is oh my gosh, I get an error yet. Okay, my gosh. I was saying that it was fixed, but I didn't fix it. Okay. Oh my gosh, I have these cases to fix. Okay, if you give me 1 minute, I will fix it directly here. Okay, the best way, I will just go and edit the file directly and upload, and I will send you by the chat. Let's do it. I will do it just manually. I mean, the best way is to do it in the what is it? With the command, but for now, let's do it quickly. So static, this one, the tidy version. No, tidy. Okay. Let me turn off my camera for in the meantime. I have kind of my computer gets overwhelmed if I do that. But you are not seeing my screen. Let me share my screen. No, you're seeing my screen, no? Yes.
We can see.
You can see? Okay, so here I am editing, and you tell me if I am missing something here. This is my simple text editor. It will do something. And what does this? Okay, I hope it looks a little better, but where were the complicated cases? Let's see. I have some yeah, this is Bursa, no? Bursa, Turkey. Yes, no? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And same Mula. Okay, Mula is. You will allow me to write it in English to avoid the problem that. Okay, no, let's keep it because it was automatic. No, that we'll leave with that. What else we have? Do we have any other Turkey? Here. No, fine. That is the. What was the other
There's
case?
the Turkey Istanbul below.
Here I have this. Oh, Turkey, Istanbul, same. Okay.
Fourth, fifth one from the bottom, I guess.
I see. Yes, you are right. You are right. I see it. Thank you. And that is done backwards. So, so this is like the previous, like the line before. Istanbul / Turkey. What else? I was trying to find. Okay, this one. I have Turkey. Yalova. Yalova is city, no?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Bilmiyorum. And this one, Antakya. No? Yes?
Hatay.
Hatay? Okay.
It must be
Hatay, Turkey.
Yes? Hatay? Okay.
Hatay. Antakya is Hatay, Turkey.
Let's say. Yeah, that is the kind of thing that you know and I don't know. So, okay. So it means that my solution is not complete. Okay, good to know. I have to fix it. But this, right now, at least we have this version that I save here. And if everything goes right, I will upload. And after I upload, it can take, I don't know, 5 minutes to get available to everybody. So I'm going to send by chat, okay? It's just that we have all the same version and a version that has the name, the city names in a clean way. Fine?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, this is going, and what we're saying, chat here. Okay, first I'm going back to the, okay. it will take 1 minute to update. So in the meantime, I'm sending you with the chat. Interesting. I believe that I had it clean and I did not. Okay, this is the one. It is not so big, so it's not too bad to send. And in a minute, we will get it in the server. Okay, fine. So in general, most people did a good homework. There were some issues, like people answer in the wrong place. You know, there was a format like, say, I am giving you the place to answer, and some people are putting the answer outside that place. So you have to understand that when I evaluate the homework, when I evaluate the exam, I'm only going to see the part that you answer in the space given, because it's an automatic system. I take your file and I cut the question that is marked and nothing else. So maybe I can show you. We had it in the homework. Let's open it. Now let's talk about that later, if we have time, because we have other thing, and I don't want to spend so much time in this. Later, when we have more, if we have more time at the end of the class, we discuss these details, because it's also not so critical. Okay, I mean, let's see. Okay, I'm back. Hello. So here we are, no? Class. Let's go to the practical thing. Any question about this? I'm just saying that in general, the homeworks are good. There was a solution that was interesting. In this case with the accent was, instead of looking at the first 3 letters, looking somewhere else. That is also a clever idea. It's kind of more work to do, but it was a good idea. It was a good way of thinking, and maybe the lesson that you should get from this is real life is messy. Real data is messy, and you will find this kind of problem often. You will find often problem like data is not in the correct format. So in fact, all this idea of tidying up data came from that. Kind of all the philosophy of the tool that we are using came from the fact that many times the data that you get is messy. So, well, we will see ways to do, but the lesson is that to do a good analysis, in other words, to make good science from your experiment, you need your data in the proper format. You need tidy data. And to tidy up your data, there are some rules that you have to follow. In particular, well, you will have different issues, and it will take time. That is the bottom line, that getting your data in a good shape takes more time than we believe. So, for example, if I do this again, I will make sure that people don't have too much freedom about the city. I will give the list of cities, and you can choose only from the fixed list of cities. If the question is asked in the correct way, you have much less problem. Fine? Any question? No? Any answer? No? The people are frozen. Okay. What is the goal for today? The goal is to answer some interesting questions. Do you remember that we had a quiz last week about what are the interesting questions? And I am giving you some of the answers. So you tell me, which of these are interesting questions and which can be answered with our data? Somebody say, I don't know. Do you think that is a good question? That is a very bad question. No? I mean, there is no problem in guessing here. It's just it's kind of brainstorming, you know. There is no wrong answer. There are some that are better eventually, but you have to say something like, I don't know what question. If you don't know the question, then any answer is good. If that is the case, you probably are out of job, because if you don't know the question, any answer is good. Well, you don't need any answer. There was this answer, no? Well, take a look, and I'm going to ask you, what do you think? There's two questions here, or maybe three questions. The question, first one, is this a question or not a question? I don't know, it's not a question. So we cannot say if this question is second part. It is an interesting question. For example, asking the weight of every person. Is this an interesting question? Okay, it's different. For example, you say you can have so many different stories by making different kind of tables. Is that a question? Someone say that the data is complicated. I'm afraid that they will have not seen real complicated data. We will. Let's see if we get real complicated data. What interesting question, like some information about data, example, student information. Okay, this is super interesting. Sociocultural situation of students. That may be an interesting question, but do you think we can answer that question with our data? Because we have this trade-off, questions that are interesting and questions that we can answer. So I am showing you some of the answers. Right-handers living outside Istanbul, left-handers living in Istanbul. And do left-handed people tend to learn English than, let's say, more than, I don't know, the English is not the best, let's say. The English can be improved, but that can be an interesting question. How old are the students? Okay, where exactly students come? So you realize that some questions are kind of very straight, like left-handed student living in Istanbul. That is very straight from the table. But there are other more interesting, like how old are the students? There is not a column age. If you notice, there is not a column age. It's something that we need to calculate somehow. Or how many student names begin with Zay? There are many Zays here. How many students are taking the course a second time and born in Istanbul? I don't know if that is interesting or not. I mean, you can make combination, but not two combinations are interesting. What is the average? Hey, this is more interesting because these questions are not directly in the data. It's something that you have to process the data to extract this information. So it's not kind of, I mean, it's not something that you can solve just looking at the data. It's not like I print all the answers and I look. This is not a value that is directly in the table. So, which ones are interesting? So the goal here is to essentially train your ability to answer, to identify interesting questions. My goal here is this. A good scientist is a scientist who asks interesting questions and then hopefully answer them. Okay? So a good molecular biologist, let's say you will ask a good question. You will design an experiment to answer that question. You will collect your samples. You will, I don't know, make one or more lab experiments, and you will analyze that data and you will get a conclusion and answer to your interesting question. If the question is not interesting, whatever you do will not be interesting. If the question is interesting, but you don't have enough data to answer, then also not good. So this is the basic training. So I make a quiz, and I also want to see if people agree or not agree. I mean, it's, if you like, a matter of personal taste. So I am sending you this, and this will be the attendance for now, okay? This one. So copy. Should be working now, I think. So let's see what people think. I mean, I want to see. I mean, at some level, there is no correct answer here. It's kind of a matter of opinion. And what is interesting is kind of a matter of opinion. So let's say that I want to see how many people agree with me and how much people agree among each other. Okay. I mean, in the sense that there's no black and white question, but you will realize that some questions are very kind of simple and kind of very easy to answer. And the harder to answer the question, the more interesting they are. Okay. If the questions are easy, they are not interesting. If the questions are hard, they are interesting, but they may be too hard and we cannot answer. Okay. So do you have the quiz? Are you going? Fine?
Yes.
So I'm stopping the recording or pausing the recording. So these are the answers here. Well, we will not see okay, the first question. Okay, the blue is about being a question, being interesting, and can be answered. Okay, yeah. So, and the question is weight, mean, range. Okay. Do you have any comment here? I have a comment, but I want to hear your opinion here.
I want to say something.
Say.
I think it's not a question because it's already the data is written in the.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
File that we already see these elements, so it's not a question. It's a thing.
Yeah. Well, the same is kind of a. I will say it's a kind of a direct question, or I mean, it's a question with a very simple and direct answer, but it still can be a question. My reason for saying that it's not a question is very easy. If I go and say you age, what do you understand? Age is not a question. If you say, what is the age? What is your age? That's a question. Question is something that should be clear that is a question. No, you have to kind of, you need to see the question mark ideally, or something very similar. Now, with a little flexibility, we can understand that this can be a simple question, but the point that I agree with most of you is that it's not a very interesting question because if the data is already in the data. I mean, maybe more interesting is what is the average of that? What is the average age? What is the average weight? English level, what is the question here? Same thing that are in the table. These two options are essentially the same idea. It's like, look at the table and tell me something from the table. They are questions, yeah, kind of basic questions, not very interesting and can be answered. And this is, on the contrary, sociocultural situation of students. It's a question almost. If you say, what is the sociocultural question, it will be more, what is the sociocultural situation? That is more clearly a question. Okay. And remember, the question should be questions, should look like questions. eventually you can simplify them, but it's good to follow the rule that question should end with a question mark. It's something that you can ask to your neighbor, like, what is your sociocultural situation or something like that. And I agree with you that it's a super interesting question, but we don't have enough data to answer it. That is showing the limit of the data. What is a student born before the year? Okay, yeah, very interesting. No, I mean, interesting or not, there is a little kind of particular that. What do you think? Why is it interesting for you? Maybe you want to feel young or feel old. I don't know. How many questions can be answered? The basic point here is to recognize. This is clearly a question. You see here more people answer that this is a question because it's really asked like a question. How many students were not born in Istanbul? And yeah, it's, I don't know. I find it semi-interesting. Like, I mean, thinking the global picture, like how many people is coming to Istanbul because of studying, or some, so maybe not studying, but how many people are migrating. I mean, just think about this. If we were having the class in live, in not online, we will be in risk of COVID. Okay. So how many students are from outside Istanbul is a question that is relevant when you think about epidemic or contagion, no? How many people come here, get in contact, and they go back to the town or their own city, and they can carry something. So it's not a silly question, I think. I mean, maybe you need more information, but for example, if we have the idea that nobody is from outside Istanbul, that everybody is and it will always be in Istanbul, maybe we have a different strategy. Maybe we don't need to take the same precaution, the same care about COVID. I don't know. Okay, right-handers living outside Istanbul. Okay, why this is interesting? I agree that this can be answered. This is probably a question that can be answered, but I would like to know why people think this is interesting. I mean, 8 people say that it's interesting. Somebody tell me. Because at the end, the interesting is kind of what will you learn? What will you be able to tell after with this information? And I want to contrast with another. Let me show you because there is. Okay, this is kind of the same question. Left-handed student living in Istanbul, kind of the same question. Interesting. Look, this question says, right-handed living outside Istanbul, left-handed living in Istanbul. And 8 people find it interesting. Then this question, which is essentially the same question, left-handed student living in Istanbul is essentially the same question. And this time 2 students find it interesting. So there are kind of at least 6 people who think that one form of the question is interesting and the other form is not, but they are the same question. So here what I see is that the person who answered was not very careful. You should be, that is, by the way, a typical technique that you ask the same question 2-3 times in different form and you see if the person answering give you the same answer. That is a way to measure the seriousness of the exam, of the survey. Okay.
I said interesting because I'm a lefty. I don't know the, I just wanted to know the answer, I guess. But I want to say something else. It says people living in Istanbul, so we don't know where they live. We know that the place they born, but we're not sure, are they still living in that place?
It is
We go
absolutely
to the
correct.
same college. Yes, we all live in Istanbul, but still, that's
Yeah. It is true. It is true. When I started doing the survey 3 years ago, everybody was living in Istanbul because we were having classes in Istanbul. But so that the question kind of didn't make sense. But today you are right. It makes sense to us if you are living in Istanbul. But then why left hand and Istanbul is a question. If that is a question, maybe the place that you are born is more interesting than the place that you live. Kind of the place that you live, I don't know. It depends on the question that you are going to ask later. And let me show you the question that I find that can tell an interesting story. This is, do left-hand people tend to learn English more than right-handed people, no? And a lot of people find it very interesting. And I also think it's interesting. And okay, this maybe we can try. Why I think it's interesting is because there is a theory that, I mean, this is kind of Hollywood story, but there is an idea of left brain and right brain. But there is essentially the theory that if you are left-handed, kind of your brain, there is something in your brain that is different, at least the side that you use. And there is the idea that if you are left-handed, you are either more analytic or more intuitive. I don't know, but the kind of you have a different pattern of learning. I remember that they say that in the engineering school there were higher proportion of left-handed people that you notice because they have, you know, some chairs are for right-handed or left-handed, but I don't know if that is true. I mean, that is the question, but I don't think that is true, but I think it's a valid question. I mean, my opinion is not important, but it will be interesting to see if left-handed, I mean, I can send you later, there is some study, why we have this proportion of left-handed people, because in other mammals and other close related organisms like apes, the proportion of left and right is like 50-50. And in humans, it's like 5 to 7%, maybe 10%. So let's say between 5 and 10%. And why? There is an anomaly. And there are some theories that left-handed are kind of better fighters because everybody is fighting with right-handed and you kind of expect to be fighting with a right-handed. I mean, you see in football. I'm not an expert in football, but I know that in football, most of people kick with the right leg, but then you have a lefty that kick with the left, and the rest of the players are surprised because you don't expect that thing. So in football, being a lefty is an advantage because you surprise people. So I mean, there are theories that people propose, and at least the question that we can answer is like, is any coherence between our data and that hypothesis? Like, for example, let's say that all the people that say I have very good English are left-handed and nobody that is right-handed has good English, it will be a strong suggestion. But if the proportions are more or less the same, then there is nothing that shows that left-handed people are better at English than right-handed people. But it's a question that can be asked, and the point is, in this question, we're combining handness with language. And that somehow is more interesting than combining handness with city where you are born. Unless you are saying that, I don't know, people born in Mula are more left, the city of leftists, something like the city, unless you kind of find that the proportion of people left-handed in a particular city is higher than the average, that can be interesting. But there are some combinations that are more interesting than others, and it's not because of the data, it's more because of the story that you can make later. So yeah, well, And as you say, some people has a particular interest because I mean you have a particular connection. Right-handed people with a specific birthday. I don't know what is a specific birthday. Maybe I didn't get the question. Specific birthday. Okay, that is clearly a particular question. Any question? Comment? No?
I was going to say something
Yeah,
about.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I didn't get it. You didn't get the question too?
Yeah. They say right-handed people from Istanbul with a specific birthday. I don't know what is the specific birthday. So
maybe it's about like they mostly born in May or something like.
Yeah. Okay. With a specific. The key word here is the. If you say right-handed person from Istanbul with a specific birthday, then I understand it. You have to say, okay, which people are born in May or something. In fact, I have another question. That is the reason why I asked the date is I want to know how many people have birthday the same day. How many people? I mean, we are, I don't know, 40 people, and there are 365 days in the year. Everybody can have different birthday, but the chances are that there will be at least 2 people, maybe more, having birthday the same day. There is another question that may be interesting is like, if there is like, if you are born in January or you are born in December, you may have different, I don't know, experience. For example, again, I don't know anything about football, but I know that most of football players are born in January and very few are born in December. It's a longer story, but you can find these anomalies that there are more people in some months, like at the beginning of the year than at the end of the year. Something like that. What else? The question about say was clearly someone has interest on say. I will not say who, but it was someone called say that say. The last letter of the name of the student will be placed in Istanbul. That is maybe someone can explain me what is the trick. Maybe like Olu. Maybe there is some pattern. Maybe you have something like. I mean, if you are speaking in English or Spanish, I can understand that question. Kind of makes sense because it's kind of a bigger family tree, like Anderson or Williamson or Erickson. The last 3 letters kind of have a meaning. Okay, these are the questions that I find. So I choose some of these questions that I find, but if you find other questions that are interesting, we can try to answer. So my point now is that we answer some questions. No, so my proposal is this. It is 12:05. I want to have a break like 1:45. So let's see if we can answer some of these questions. And let's see, and then we have a break, and then we can keep, I mean, especially if you have questions. And also, if we have more time, we check the homework, okay, the previous homeworks, okay? Any question? So I choose some more questions, but if you have more questions that you want to ask from the data, say it, okay? As I insist, the real point here is to ask the good question. If you and that is not always the first thing that came to mind. The point that it is super common, and I will say I will even say that it's always the case that you start with one question, and after you answer that question, you get a new question, and the kind of the good questions. You don't get them at the first time or at the second time. You get kind of a third, fourth time, you start to get the real questions. So So you have to start with some question and then you go improving them. Okay. So what are our tools? Reader. As you know, we have this data that I'm giving to you. This, let's see if it got better now. Yeah, it fixed it now. You see, the online version is also fixed. You can download from online, or I can send you in the chat. And you get. We are going to make a project for today, and we are going to copy the data there, and we are going to read them with this TSV for tab separated value. There are other ways, you know, you can use the menu, but in our cases, we are using either comma separated value, CSV, or tab separated values, okay? I wanted to show something about loading things from Excel, but we are not going to use in the exam. I prefer talking about that after midterms, okay? So there are a couple of ideas that we can talk, but I don't talk yet because I prefer focus on the midterm. Okay, so well, let's see. We should do this. So look how we start. We start with the R, and I'm going to create a new project. New project. You can do the same, no? Oh, what's happening? Where is my new project window? New project. Ah, here, okay. For example, after the midterm, we can see what is this version control. It's something super modern, super useful. Okay, something new project. We are not doing anything of these crazy things. And I will say, well, we were saying class, and I have kind of class 19, but maybe a better idea will be to put the date. And when you write the date, this is something that I always insist. The best way to write a date in the computer is year, month, day. Because you say month, day, or day, month, it's always confusing. But if you do it with starting with the year, they will be sorted correctly. It's like the same, you will see our data, the birth data are also in the format year, month, day. It's kind of the standard. It's a standard, in fact, it's the international standard. And today is 30. And I will say computer molecular biology 1. So when I find this, I will know what are the topic, and I will know the date. If you tend to have more and more projects, you can have more and more different dates. And nothing else, create project. You will allow me to turn off my camera because kind of my computer get overwhelmed with camera and kind of go faster if I turn off the camera. And you see it's not going very fast. So, okay, this is our thing, and we are empty, an empty folder, and we need to here copy the file, and what we did here, we say show folder in new window, which I got somewhere here, and I have my other folder where I got my downloads or where I got my data. Let me find if I have it here. Yeah, no. I have to make another window where you download. Okay, let's make download, no? Because if you are like me, if you are doing like we say, you start with this, you got the data from the chat, or maybe here, and you can save here. You click here and you get, no. What is that? File, save as. And when you save, you probably will save in the best way is to save in downloads. And so when you go to your data, you will see here in sorted by time, and you get something like this one. And you take the file that we download either from the chat or from the web, and we put in the project folder. Okay? Fine. Then we can close here. I can even close this one, and here I see the file. So good. We have our data in the project folder. Everything will be easy. And we are going to create a R Markdown, which for today I want to, what they say, create an empty document. And I'm going to start from 0. We should put 3 lines, title, I don't know, practice class 19, author. You put your name, maybe your student number. Let's put the date, why not? So you can write here in English or in whatever. November 30, 2020. 3 lines. Okay, that is the header. If I give you a template, you can open the template or this here kind of quotations are optional, but kind of find better to put them. Okay, so what were the questions here? Let's see what are the questions. So first thing first, we say that we are going to read the data like this. Okay, so we should try this. Fine. If you have any problem, you tell me. Okay, what we do here? Click R, and or let's do even before. There is an option insert R, and it will create this block. Okay. Normally, I give you this block. In the question, like in every homework, I give you the place that you have to fill, and this chunk is already made. And you remember that this is creating some kind of noisy when you load this. So we have an option here that you can write directly here. You can say message equal false. That essentially means that all the warnings that we get when we load the data will not be in the final document. So we can try here. And I personally like the option here that say chunk options inline. So we see the result directly here in the document, like here, click. And you can even see something nice. There is a nicer presentation here. Yeah, maybe we can try to do something like this. Maybe we can try. Okay, but we got our data, and the birthplaces are kind of more clear. The question about the country, let's talk about that later, but it was mostly to make you think about it, okay? And because there are better tools to do it. There are some kind of good tools for this case, but I don't want to give you too much noise now. Let's see. I don't want to confuse you. I want to focus here. So, okay, what are the questions? Well, this is the first slide directly taken from the class. What are the questions here? Question number 1. These are the tools that we're going to use. We're going to use this package. Filter, select, arrange, mutate, summarize, and group by. Okay, these are the tools in our toolbox, and the pipe. So we need to load the package, and I'm going to do it here. And the command is library dplyr. Oh, close it here. Something like this. This will just give us access to these tools. Remember this toolbox. These are the tools we're going to use, and they're all grouped in this package called dplyr. By the way, you know, Plyr, the name of Plyr is essentially because it's a tool for handling data. Plyr. This thing, which I don't know the name in Turkish, but in English. How do you call this in Turkish? They have a name, no? They are not Turnavida, no? Say again, Mirai? I don't know. I don't know. Because sometimes the names in Turkish are kind of French. For example, Turnavida is French. But the idea, this is a tool that you use to take a wire and bend it, kind of holding, pulling. So what the idea of the people who make this software was to have a tool like that. So there is a first version. The first version was called Plyr, and this is kind of the advanced version. Okay, there is an old version of the same idea called Plyr for handling data. Okay, so let's go to the question. What are the questions? Question. Okay, teach me. Who are the students? I changed the question not to 1990. Well, we can ask both, but I find that 1999 is a little closer, so we'll have more people. So who are the students? This is a question. Who are the students born before 1990? How we solve this question? Okay, let's copy this question. And you tell me, you can write in the chat, what do you think is a good idea for that question? I'm going to put a hash here for a title. Who are the students born? This is the section. So I'm going to save this file like practice. I don't put a space here, class 90, something like that. Okay. Tell me, what shall we do here? This is an easy question. We can even try, if you don't want to write it directly here, you can try here below. Oh no, let's try here directly. So we have students. What shall we do? Any idea is welcome. Come on, say something.
We wrote on chat.
In chat. Okay. Yeah, Zainab is the answer that we remember that. Okay. The answers, okay, there are a couple of things here. Okay, the partial thing. Did you try them? You can try them before. I will start with this answer. Damla and Rana essentially give the same answer. And there are a couple of points here. First is that you are showing Well, but first thing first, the real problem here is that this date should be in quotation marks. Otherwise, you will have a formula.
That's why it gives NAs.
Sorry?
I guess that's why it gives NAs.
Maybe, yeah. Because 1099, 1999 minus 1 is a number. So what happens if you click here? We have NAs for the people who don't have data, but okay, there's a lot of people before 1990. Yeah, good. If we don't put the quotation mark, as you say, it will be nobody. Because just notice, what is this? Just to fix ideas. Okay, let's open a experiment. In fact, this experiment, you can do it here. Maybe it's better to do it here. If you write this, you're essentially these are a minus sign. So you're calculating a number, 1997. And you're comparing 1997 with a text that is longer. But if you put in quotation marks, the best is kind of you mark and you put quotation, then it's considered a text. And in this case, the date are encoded like text. So let's go back here. So it is important, and everybody got the same. Well, not okay. There's an updated version. So this is good in the sense that you are asking the good question, and you're using the good condition. But you are showing me the birth date, not who are the students. So there is this new version that Rana is proposing with putting ID, but it's showing only the ID. And in this case, we want to get kind of all the lines, and like the answer by Zainab and so is going in the direction that we want to do. So let me make this comment. In the previous class, we spoke about what we spoke about. We spoke about indices in vectors. Today, we are working with the complete table, with the complete data frame, because we're using different tools and we want to kind of see the big picture. Okay, so we're going to do something that is a little different. Okay, and it's in the spirit of Zainab answer. So let me make a new chunk here, and later we can insert this. Okay. Okay, first let me put this is an answer using vectors. But here we say that the tools that we want to use today are the tools of dplyr. So we're inserting another line here, and you say student, and then you say filter them. Oh, sorry. This, oh my gosh. Percentage, bigger percentage. Then we say filter birth date, and it's the same here. It's kind of this part. So first, you don't need to say students again. One of the advantages of using this approach, and I think we spoke about this last class, one of the advantages is that you don't need to say students again. This is student, and in this context, we are going to find the birth date. Why? Because I didn't run this one. I have to run this command. There is some message that I get here, but so far so good. Now I run again. Here are the people. Now we get the complete line. So this is an answer using, what are we using?
Dplyr properties.
Dplyr, yeah, exactly. Dplyr and tables. Good. I was forgetting. Fine. What else? So some people, and this is the when they answer. Since we asked this question in different years, we get different answer every time. So let's make a couple of variations. I mean, since we asked this question every year, we got different groups. These are the people who make the course 2 years ago, and there is some people that did it like last year. Here you see, and these are the people doing it now. Last year people were lazy and didn't answer very much, but today we have better data. Okay, let's ask the question for 1990, the original question. Let's see if there are any student that is old, let's say. I don't want to say, but let's say. So to try 1990, you will put a 0 there, and we try, and one person that you can see, it says that born in Istanbul, a female, and was in this course? No. Yeah, this year. Good. The point with having one person is that it's not very interesting because, I mean, it's just, well, yeah, maybe it's interesting. But what we would like to see, there are maybe too many things. We would like to know, what we would like to know here. Well, we like to know the name, but here we don't have names. So I want to choose some columns. This is kind of long, so let's choose some column. How we can choose some column? People say the ID, for example. What if we want to show?
We should use select function.
Exactly. That was the idea. So this is the same question for 1990. Okay, and now let's select some column. So filter is to choose the rows, select is for choose the columns. Okay, then let's do this again. So pipe again, select, and what we say here, the column that we want, ID, and maybe birthplace. Just to have an idea, no? Tamam. What else? Eventually, it is not very hard to take the month from the birth date, since the birth dates have this standard shape. You can take the text between this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, something like that, and you can get the month, and maybe we can count how many people was born in every month, something like that, no? But let's do what we can do here. Let's keep. I think I have a question, but I am just imagining what sort the result by birthday. Okay, that was the question. Now that we got this, can we sort by birth? How can we sort?
With arrange, I think.
Yeah, I also think the same. Now, you may not remember. So what I'm doing this, I don't have the answer prepared, so I'm thinking with you here. So the tool that we are using is here. I'm looking in the package. I see it's called dplyr. I click here, and here in the help, I have all the options that come here. And here you can take a look, and there is a range, as you say, Arrange orders the rows of a data frame by the values of some columns. Okay? Fine? And there is some blah blah that you can read later. The point is, first, you don't need to remember all details. If you remember something, it's kind of first remember what can you do in general. You can select rows, filter rows, select columns, and sort things. Then, so first point, what can be done? Second point is how to do that. What is the keyword? And then you look in the help. You don't need to remember everything. You need only to have kind of a strategic view. So the second question that we have here was sort result by birthday. So I want to take this question, maybe up to here. And sort. No, arrange. Arrange by birthday, no? And then select birthday, no, birth date and birthplace, something like that. By the way, did you see that the system is kind of filling in my name? When I start to write, the options will fill automatically. We have 2 persons born in Syria on January 1st of 1991. Question: are these 2 persons different person or the same person? Well, to know that, I want to add another column, which is ID. So this is the same person who did the class 2 times. Remember that here we have data from different years, and sometimes the people do the class 2, 3, 4, 10, 20 times, and if they have the same user number, they will have the same ID. This ID is essentially based on the student number. Okay. So this is the same person. So then I have a question. If these 2 lines are the same person, maybe we can simplify it. Maybe we can print only 1 time, and instead of have 89 rows. For example, look, this is also the same person, no? Is it? So maybe we can make it simple. Do we have something like duplicate, and let's say dup or unique? Distinct, yeah. Distinct. Show me only distinct lines. So let's copy this. By the way, this is a question that I am inventing now. I didn't think about this, but you see, when you start doing it, you can get new ideas. Distinct. Can you see the difference? Initially, we had 89 rows, but some of the rows were repeated. Okay? By the way, can you see, shall I make the screen bigger or not? I mean, the letters bigger? Or is good enough?
I can see.
Okay, yeah, I see some people. Well, from 89 rows, we go on to 73, essentially getting only the values that are distinctive. In other words, in the first case, the repeated entries are several times. In the new version, they are only one time. If two lines are the same, you get only one time. Istanbul, Syria, Istanbul, Malatya, Turkey, Aleppo. You see? So we got the data sorted. Okay, let's do something before. No, we have still a little more time. But I want to try what happens if we process. I'm saving this and I want to process and see what kind of document that we get here. Let me show in a new window. Here is the comment that we used, and this is the result. Then we load the library, and we got this text here that is kind of a warning. We will like to hide this warning. Okay, we should hide this warning. Then this is answered with vectors, but you realize that these numbers are not very clear and not kind of opaque. So I kind of find it much more useful to work directly with all the tables and then choose the correct columns, the columns that are interesting for us. And also, I would like to see if we can print this in a nicer way. So let's see. First, let's get rid of this message. How we get rid of that message? Look here. Here we have the quick navigation. It's this one. So we don't want this message. We can just write here, message false. Let's try now. I hope that will make it cleaner. 1 second. Yeah, now there is no message here. Okay. In fact, maybe a better option was to put it at the very beginning. Maybe it was, since we are loading the library and we already have message files here, we can make the document nicer if we just copy from here and put it here. Kind of a good idea is to load all the libraries at the beginning. I think normally for the exam I give you in the file that I give you, I will put these are the libraries that you are using here, so you don't need to worry about that. Then how can we make the table nicer? I think this is a different package. I don't know if you have it, but yeah, you have it because it's standard. It's called this one, Knitter. So I want to try one idea here. Okay, this is long, but the one that you want to know is something called a cable. It's kind of table, but cable. So let me try. I'm trying to see if this works. If I say here, I'm not sure if this will work. First, I need to load the library. Let's put it here. And then I'm going to process this with the cable. Cable is for table, okay? Let's see what happened. Okay, look different, no? And now we ignite. So cable is kind of a beautifier. It's a tool for making the output nicer. Let's see the difference. Let's see if there is any difference. And after this, we have the break, if you agree. So these are the raw data, I mean, kind of looking ugly. And this is with cable. You see how the output is different? Can you see the difference, no?
Yes.
This is more like a document. There are other options that we have to search later that can make it more interactive, but let's see. So well, my proposal is just to finish before the break, I am going to add this cable to every line. So we say the importing library in the first line, in the first block. No? Here, in the first thing that we do is to prepare everything. Connect the package, the libraries that we will need, and read the data. That is the first thing that you do. And then we don't need to, well, let's not show it. We don't need to show it now because we are going to show it in the filtered version. So here it is not a table, so we cannot do many things. But now we can do this trick. Add cable at the end of all these tables. We add the cable here. I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to put in the other one we selected ID and birthplace, and here when you selected birth date, and when we got distinct, just adding every place, and we need. Do you have any questions so far? So I say that we are going.
Sir,
yeah,
I have a question. The last table we did, I can't see the code. Can I take a look at it? I think I missed that part.
Yes. I can do something. I can send you with the chat this document as I have it, if you want.
Okay, that would be very good.
Yeah, so
Thank
you can see.
Okay.
But just to see the code here last time, I'm reload here. So not using the cable, all the tables look nicer. They are longer because they are showing everything, but it's nicer. So and this is with the unique people, no? This. Yeah, maybe 1999 is too much. Maybe you should have chosen 1995 or something like that. 1990 is too little. We have only one person. And sorting doesn't make any sense with one person. Okay, but let's have a break. I suggest 45 minutes, going back here at 1:30. And then we try the thing. And I'm sending you this file, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Can I?
Yeah, of course.
For the break, because it's important. My doesn't work with the, especially with the pipe ones.
They don't. Go ask your question.
My code doesn't work in my chunks. I mean, I changed the inline version, but they don't work. They don't show the cables or tables. Can I show?
And what?
I think it's about the packages, but solve them all.
Okay, let's do something. Share your screen. I will stop sharing mine. But if people don't need to stay, I mean, if you want to go for, people who want to go for lunch break can go for lunch break. If you want to stay, of course, you can stay. Share me your screen.
Can you see it?
I'm seeing it now. Okay, you are. Okay, show me what is it. Okay. You don't confuse me. Don't confuse me. You are moving too fast.
I can see this, but it's like this.
Ya vaya. Don't let me see. Let me read because you are moving too fast. You don't let me read. I need to see the very beginning. Don't move too fast. So first, you have this library, deploy reader, and we think that all these libraries were loaded. We should see a message here. Did you click in the first chunk?
Yeah, this one?
Yeah. I expect to see some. But you put message. Okay. Fine. And then you see this thing, and in the when you say birth date, you see is the again the language issue UTF-8.
Isn't that about packages?
No, it's something about the language, because you say that well, you have the message in Turkish, but it is speaking about the UTF-8 issue, the issue with the language. Can you, if you take out cable, what happened in the line 25? If you take out cable and the pipe, yeah, do you get the same error?
It's not even giving error.
Not even.
It just shows that in the console.
Yeah, but sure. Okay, can you go to the console and ask 2 questions? Just student. What is student? If you show student, show the thing that it is what we expect. Okay. Okay, it's fine. Then you say birth date.
What?
No, I'm trying to think what can be. Birth date. Okay, what if we do this? Maybe let me see. I can. What is there? Button. Somewhere I have an option of requesting. No, I don't know. Here. I don't find the button to request controlling. Anyway, so I was thinking to write filter directly. Filter, then open parentheses, student, like undo the pipe. Filter. Can you please write filter?
Like directly?
Yeah. Then open parentheses. Yeah, okay. Students, comma, birth date, less than, less than the arrow, yeah, no, the other way, well, anyway. And the quotation, yeah, 0101. And let's see if it works or not. Okay. So in this format, it worked. So the difference between this and the previous one is the position where you put the pipe, no? The pipe is the pipe command should be doing this magic of changing the order. Are we sure that you get? Can you show me? There is a tab here called Ar Markdown. Just in the lower part, below there is a console terminal Ar Markdown jobs.
What?
In the lower left side, we have the console where we were working, and and here is a terminal. It's a Ar Markdown. I want to see what is here. You got an error here, but that was the first one. And in fact, the question is, what happens if you need this trick? What do you get?
What trick?
Yeah, if you click that button,
It's just nothing.
No, not the button, not that button. There is on the upper part there is a blue thing called knit.
Do you want me to knit?
Yeah, I want to see. You have to put a name.
It says line 10. I guess there's something wrong with the line 10.
Yeah, I think that you are not putting. Yeah, you have to save this file in the project folder. The file that you make now, this RMD, should be stored in this in the project folder.
I just opened a new
No, don't open. Yeah, well, there's an option to make it, but you start having many. The best is you open the normal window and you move in window with the window system.
So
let's do something. I send you my file. You can try that also, but put everything in the project folder. All these files should be in the project folder, so you can guarantee that you are seeing them.
where did you send it from?
I send you a file called practice class 19.
It's on the chat.
Yeah.
Chat'ını sıkacağım peki şu an.
And I think you already opened it.
Ben aldığım için chat'i göremiyorum şu an. Ha, gördüm. Hayır, göremedim. Can I stop sharing my screen?
Yeah, you can. And they are looking like I have to go for lunch. So
Okay.
let's go for lunch and we check it later, okay?
Okay.
So you sent me practice class 19 and
My point is put everything in the folder, in the project folder, so you can see that things work.
okay.
Yeah, I have to go for lunch. So this is the result that we had with very long tables, but at least this is basically what we call publication quality. No? So, well, right now we are showing the code because we're evaluating, but you know that this showing the code is optional. When you write a paper, you don't show the code, but you show the table and the figures. All the figures is after the midterm. But this is something that you can print in a paper and people can feel safe, I mean, proud of it. Then, what else? Well, maybe this is a long table. So there may be an option, and I was looking for it, but I didn't find. And I will kind of challenge you to find alternatives. When I'm reading the book that I'm following, they say use cable. They recommend what we did now. But I was essentially Google tidyverse table output, and there is some printing tables, some publication ready quality, and so there may be other ways to print a table that are nicer. In fact, there is something that is kind of implicit here. I don't know if you see. When, let me show you. Here we have this case. Yeah, this case. Are you seeing my screen? No? Are you seeing my R? No? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. Move the head. If you are using it. I am seeing new faces, so okay. Damla. Move your. Yeah, move your. Good. So when we print the thing here in the editor, there is something that I'm not sure how they are doing, but the good thing is that it's showing the result in group of 10 lines, and you have a menu here to go in block of 10. So you can essentially explore everything in a safe way. So the point is this: when we use cable, like I show you here, we get a document that is essentially ready to print in a paper, in physical paper. You print and you get something like this, kind of a report that you give physically. And one of the things that happen in paper is that what is written in paper cannot be changed. But if you are not doing it in paper, if you are doing it in the web, then you can have something that is more interactive, like this. So instead of showing 89 rows, it's showing groups of 10 rows. So I don't know right now how they do this, but it's something that can be found. If you are good at looking in the internet, you will find something. I mean, I guess that in half an hour looking, you will find something nice way to print a result from tidyverse or result from R or something. But for now, we are happy with this solution. So what we did essentially, let's say the big picture here is we prepare the library that we need for reading, for processing, and for printing. So you see, we read, we process, and we output, print. Then we read the table. We have a first test that works, but it's not very useful because these are codes that are meaningless to us. So we prefer to do with the complete table. So we use this format. Maybe I can make it a little bigger. You will see it better. Students, pipe, filter, and the condition, pipe, cable. Cable is for making it nice. So you take your data, you do something, and you get the output. This is kind of a long table, but you can essentially go down with the scroll or whatever. And you can have the question for different limit. You can have, and even better, you can select rows and then select columns. I will give you a question. What happens if you select columns first and then you select rows? I will let you think that one. And here we say again a row column, and we see that some of these are repeated. So the next time we say we add a new command, distinct. So in fact, today the two new commands that I show you was distinct and cable. Okay, let's go other of the question that was, I mean, interesting. We selected, we sorted. That was the other thing we did with arrange, no? Did we? Did we arrange? Yeah, we arrange. Arrange is a funny word to say sort. Then what else? No, here, question. What is the question? How many students were not born in Istanbul? That was also one question, but it's a simple question just to test. How? I have a question here because the question is how many. So no, not this one. You have an idea how to answer this? I guess we have several ways to answer this question. I am open to suggestions.
Can we use a summarize function?
That is what I want to do. I want to get to summarize, yes. That is exactly the idea. We can and we should, because it's the interesting way to solve the question. What I'm doing, yeah, here. Find how many students were not born in Istanbul. So some of you will find the solution with vector, but let's try to do it with tables. So basic idea, student, and then we put the condition, which is a filter. You would care the rows, and what is the row? The birthplace is how we say not Istanbul.
Exclamation point and equal sign.
Yeah, that is not equal. The exclamation in general means not. And then we say, what do we say? Now that we clean the data, we know that Istanbul is said only one way. You realize that if we don't tie up the data, this will be very hard because Istanbul was written in like 20 different ways. Let's see. I got an answer here with 75 rows, so 75 people I will expect. But the question says explicitly count them. So I want to test the idea that the proposal is Zeynep, who proposed that we did summarize. So there is help. Summarize. By the way, did you notice that there is the British spelling and the American spelling? They are the same function, but most of the software people do it in American English, but the British also like to use their own spelling. So it's up to you if you use the American or the other. Okay. So summarize an example here. Summarize command. Summarize each group to fewer rows, and you put summarize, and then it's some kind of function. Me and me and count. Oh, good. Student filter birthplace Turkey, and then here we're working here, no? Well, sorry, maybe I'm going too fast, but the idea in general is this. So far, we have a table and we can choose some rows or some columns, but now we want to make a result that is a single line, like how many, what is the average, what is the minimum, what is the maximum. All this thing that we want to do, we do with the command called summarize, okay? It's kind of summary, but summarize is especially made for this kind of data frame, okay? To use like in a pipe. And the trick is that the first input is the data, and then we have some options here. And that essentially what are the functions that we are going to use. And we probably can go to the example and see how they do. For example, here, summarize, and you have the mean and the number. So let's start with something simple. Following this example, it's always good to try to see if you find an example that matches you. So, and what we have here, we say, so summarize. And what will be the function here? Well, a priori, I think it should be just n. Let's see what happened. Okay? Are you following me? Yeah, let's see what happened. So it gets a simple table here with one number. And the column is called n parentheses, which is not a nice name. So you can put here, we choose the name that we're writing. So we say total, for example. It's a name. So the format here is the name of the result and then the command that will give the result. So you get total. And you can have more than one thing, but this is an easy one. Student, how many students were not voting in Istanbul? 75. Now I have one question. Maybe some of these are repeated. As you remember, we had people born in Syria that they were counted 2 times. So I see, I just saw here there's someone called n distinct that count elements that are different. So let's see, maybe we can do a similar question. And I want to see if I use the function n distinct will be the same or not. So I'm copying the format, the command. N distinct. Let me put it higher. And I think, let's try what happened here. 0. No, I think I did something wrong here. Okay, I have a theory. Because there should be more than one student, no? I want to put select. Or maybe we should read the command. Let's say, I think that we have to select one column, like the student ID. Select ID. And we'll write this in the next line. And I will put the pipe. And see what happened here. Yeah, no, it's not working as I expected. So let's see the help. Count and distinct. So faster equivalent to length unique and distinct vector of value. It should be a vector. It should be a vector. So maybe we can say what is the column here. Yeah, that is. Because
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I've read it chat. I've read this program, but it says 72.
You did here in this. Okay. Okay, very good question. That's more or less what I wanted to see. Everybody see the chat here, no? That is an alternative, and you get a different number. And instead of it is a very good question. Let's see what is happening here. Do you have any theory what is happening here?
No.
Well, my approach is to see what is this thing that they call distinct. So let's see again. Let me maybe move it a little up here. We have students. We take the students that are not in Istanbul. Then you say they should be different. And then we see what happened. No? When we have them different, they are different in some of the columns, in the ID or the English level or the birthplace. Well, if people are honest, that is not always the case, and they always give the same answer. Remember that there are people doing the class more than one time. If they are honest, they will put the same numbers, and they will put the same thing, and even the same ID, but you will have the same person twice because they have the column answer date will be repeated. So yes, we got 72 rows here, which are essentially the same here, except the 3 rows that are identical. So all these lines here are different, but are different mainly because of the answer date. So what I suggest is that we don't compare the complete row. when you take distinct, you compare only the column with the ID. What I think is, before doing distinct, let me write it here. Like, you first do select the correct column, and then you see if they are distinct. What I'm saying is that the order is important, that you have to do things. I mean, in general, when we do several things, the order in which we do the things has an effect. For example, I don't know, if I put water and then I drink, it's not the same if I drink and put water later. Or more clear, if I put my socks and then I put my shoes, it's not the same if I put my shoes and I put my socks. The order is important. So here the order is select. First we select the column ID, and then we count distinct. Now we have 58, you see? Because if we select the column with ID, you are counting how many times each ID is repeated. If you don't select, you are comparing the complete line, and there will be something that is different, at least the date, the answer date. If someone is doing the class a second time, all the answer will be the same, but the first column, the column with the answer date, will be different. And that is enough to consider them different samples. So if you do select before, you will get different results. And maybe you can even do some, well, we say summary here, no? What do I say? You say summarize. Well, copy and paste. So, I probably should write, in a minute I will write you the comments that go in between to explain what is happening. Because if I give you this text as it's right now, it is not very clear what is happening, no? I mean, tomorrow will be harder to remember. So let's finish the code and then we will write a summary. It's super important that we learn to write. So this is one command, this is another command. Remember that I put the pipe at the last position. I mean, if I finish a line with the pipe, then I can continue in the next line. Here you have, what is this? Ah, interesting. No, this n doesn't take ID. Okay, fine. My mistake. 58 and here 72. So, so the comment here, we can do something similar using the filter distinct. You should notice that every time that I speak about a command, I put it in backticks. So when we process, it looks different than the rest of the text. Same when you write me emails, I am always careful to put the commands with a different type of letter so you can recognize what is English and what is computer. But this that command count twice the people who took the course 2 times, 2 or more times. Okay. In if okay, let's say to the course in different years. Okay. Okay, whatever. So it is better to select the ID column. ID column before using distinct. Distinct, that is the command, no? So what I mean is this: if you do distinct and before select, you will get a result that is different if you do select and then distinct. The order is important. But the good thing that get us to the using of summarize. So what's the next interesting question? If you have more questions, you ask them. If you have more interesting questions, but I have a set of questions that average. Okay, here we have a lot of. What is the average height? And then with weight. Okay, here we have enough to get bored. But quickly, what I am open to your suggestion here. What is the average height? What do you think? What can we say here? Well, it's basically this same idea. Well, you start with the student. Well, tell me. Oh, it's not very hard. It's very straight from what we have. Average height is taking everybody, no? How we do?
Mean, I think.
But we need to say something. It will not mean, yeah. Yeah, okay, there are more than one way, but following this schema, this idea. We have mean here, yeah. That is a function that we use in summarize. We are using summarize. Okay, using summarize. How we do? We need to start with the data. So the first thing is students. Okay, agree? That is the first. In all these cases, if you see, all these exercises that use pipes start with the data and then we do filters. Are we filtering any row?
Yeah, it says a female student, so we
No,
have
but
to filter
that is the second. No, in the first it's just
oh, sorry,
everybody.
sorry. Yeah.
Maybe we have problem with the NA. Let's see if the not available give a problem. Let's see. But here we don't have any filter or any. Maybe we can select weight, but I think it's not necessary because when we use mean, look at the example here. When they take the average, the mean, they choose the column that you want. You can choose the column directly. You don't need to do select first. Okay? This is the example that we're following, trying to adapt this example here to our case. So students, summarize, and mean equal mean of height.
I wrote something on the chat, but
okay, let's see. Okay, I see what is happening. The point is that is NA, you have to say which column.
oh, I have to put height there too.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but it's a good idea. Here, he height in centimeters. Let's see what's happening here. I want to see if I get an error if I take the NAs here. And do we got NA? Yeah, you are right. So maybe one option is to say NA omit NARM, no? NARM, true. This is one option. And we got a mean value here. Then we can do as you say. Let's try that option that I like, that alternative that you try to clean the data with filter. And you say here, I'm copying from your thing. Yeah. So, oh, my mouse is not obeying Okay, this, I'm copying your idea. Good idea. Everybody should benefit that we have chat and give their opinion. And do we get something similar? Yes, we get the same thing. Good. Now, I think there is something else. I think there is something like a super NA. No, one more. In dplyr here, dplyr. I'm looking for if no. Okay, fine. I think there is a function that this filter is kind of in one function, but let's keep it here. Let's keep it here. Let's not. Okay, I have only one question before going forward. That what we call average, we say that average is a complicated word because there are more than one thing that we call average, no? So what is the alternative if we are not using median? What else we can use?
Median.
Median, yeah, exactly. In fact, you can even see here that they are proposing median and median. And we can do both if I think, let's see, we can do both at the same time. Let's do it here that we already cleaned. So we clean the data once and we use it twice. So median equal median. Just to be clear okay. Let's make it clear. I'm putting one in each line so it's easier to read. This is a name. Here I have some freedom to choose the name. I am putting with nicer letters. Mean, median. Fine. And if you want to make it a little nicer, you can even do the format that we say cable. It's a nice table. Okay, we got a good way to summarize and extract something that we didn't know. Okay, average height of female students. How we go with that? Any idea?
Now we can filter the sex column.
Exactly. Here, okay. I am recycling the code, no? You should do the same if possible. In general, it is much safe to start from something. In many cases, for example, I go here and just copy the example here and then I start changing. So I don't write from zero. The more you can copy and paste from example that work, the more safe it will be. So here you will say filter.
I have a question.
No? Yeah, go ahead.
Should we use what was it? The distinct.
Probably we should do this thing because essentially if a person is doing the twice, then it will count it twice. But it probably will take a little more time. Let's make it like now, and then we see if we can solve it because yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point that what happened if a person did the course 2 times?
Yes.
But then it goes to a more deeper question. It's like, what do we call the average? Because let's keep thinking. What happened if you have a person who did the course 2 times, but he or she lost weight, went to diet and lost 10 kilos, let's say. So 1 year is, I don't know, 85, and the next year is 75. So what is the weight of that person? Both are valid, no? It is distinct. It's the same person. So when we say it's the very deep question is this, and sometimes you get this problem for real. When you say the average weight of the group, we have an ambiguity, like because this is a set that is covering many years, many months, and the weight of the person can change. So maybe a safer way will be to take the average weight every year for 2020, 2019, 2018. So in a way that you are sure that you don't see the same person twice. Or you can go to the other side and say, I don't care if the person are repeated. This is my data set and I am just taking it as it is. I mean, basically, if you ask me if when the same person is in the class 2 times, it is different or unique, well, it depends. It depends. It's not yes or no. It depends. For some cases, you want to consider as different. Some cases, you want to consider as the same. Depends on the question. So for now, let's make it simple. And if the same person is 2 times in this data set, we consider like 2 persons, okay? At the end, it's like you make an interview. I mean, it's literally what we did here. We take a survey 1 year, and we took it again the next year. The same person in the second year is, for our class, will be a second sample. I mean, it's part of the sampling strategy. So it is not bad. You just need to know that there is maybe some cases that are repeated. That is why it's important when you write the paper to declare what you call average. So what was the filter here? Let's go to the practical thing. What is how we choose here? We say sex equal female, no? Yes, no?
Yes.
But still, your question is valid. If we want to consider them unique, how we should do it? Okay, the average of female is different. It seems to work. For male will be the same, no? It's not very different. And for a female student living in Istanbul, you can imagine. How you do it? And when living in Istanbul is tricky, like born in Istanbul, let's say. Born in Istanbul. That was a good comment. What I mean, I guess you guess. By the way, if you want, because I see faces, can you please now write in the chat your student number? Okay, right. Everybody should write their student number, so I will get this will be the attendance for this part. Okay. Okay, how many? 10. Good. Perfect. I want to see. Well, if somebody forgot, they have to. Yeah, this is a way, and you see that if the birthplace Istanbul is not very different from the median is the same, and the average is a little different. Good, kind of makes sense. Now, what can we do that is a little more interesting? So there's 2 ideas that I got when I wrote this thing. One is that you can put several filters in one, just separating by comma. I think this will work. Let's see if it works. Yeah. When we use filter, you can have several conditions, and they are all applied in order, and you separate them with comma. So filter data that is not empty, and the sex is female, and the birthplace is Istanbul, and then summarize with these two values. Okay? Fine? Now, and for the male will be the same, but I want to use this for going to the next step, this one that you see here in the example, group by. Because the question that we asked initially kind of makes sense, but somehow these two questions are the same question. Male and female, essentially it's like group by sex and then calculate the average. Okay? You see? That is really the question. What is that is the average of everybody? That is, what is the average grouping by sex? And then grouping by living in Istanbul or something like that. Let's see. So how we'll do it? Of average height of male and female. Female. So instead of filtering so much, well, we will keep the filter of NA, but I'm going to go to the more simple one that we have, this one. Here. So let's try this one. Insert R code, and I press here. So we take a student. We forget about the one that are missing because that missing data will not help us. And we add this function that is the last one, I think, that we say that we can use, group by. Group by. Group by, here the grouping is the sex. Then we summarize. And the group by is the use. There is a message here. Let's see what's happened. Override with, there is something. I don't know what is that message. We'll have to learn that message, okay? But this is the result. We have sex, female, male, mean, and median, and you got the, okay? So in one step, you do all the questions that you wanted to see. Fine? Then, what was the error? I don't know this error. Summarize ungrouping option, summarize ungrouping output, and summarize the say groups. Group and struct, drop last, drop, keep. Okay, this is a blah blah blah. This is essentially, well, you can read here the help. What I understand is this. Depending on the size of the options, you will have different results. This group by will look a little different. That explained it here. But you can choose them. And this is just a message, and you can have an option to omit that message. But let's do something. Let's choose an option of group, and let's see what happened. We have this option, group. So I'm going to test the first. I think in our case will not be big problems. So let's say the command is called dot groups equal drop last. I'm not very sure what we will do, but testing experimental. I click again. We got the same message. But here I say the group by group. But why is not? I don't know what is compared. No, it's not here. It's in the summarize. Oh, okay. That is my okay. Here. Let's. This is not in the group. It's in the summarize. Here. Summarize groups. Summarize is the one giving the error message. Okay. Okay. We don't get any error and work. We can try to see what happened. I don't think it will make a big difference here. Drop, keep. I think it's the same result. It's some subtle thing like maybe if we have more than one column, let's say if all the results have one row, I don't know. We have to look at that more carefully. Let's try. In fact, why we can try anything and see if the results are the same. So one was drop last, and we got this result, and the other was keep, and I think it's the same result. To be honest, if you ask me, I will go with this. I will not put anything, but I will use the output here, message false, so I don't see the error. I will let the system choose automatically, and I just don't want to see the message because they say like, if you don't say groups, it will be automatically. And when it is automatically, you get a message. So I am saying, okay, do it automatically, but don't tell me what you do. I trust you. Okay. I have one more question. What happens if we do more than one group? Okay, there's some group by 6 and build place. I want to know, no, something simpler, handness. Let's see if left-handed people are more heavy or more light than, no, more taller. That is what, this is easy to see. You see what we did, no? Students, we drop the missing data. We group by sex and by handness, okay? Sex is female or male and handness left, right. And here you have all the combinations and you have the mean and median for female left and male left. So the female left are smaller than the female right, and the male left are taller than the male right, but not very much. Maybe it's just chance. So this is how we do group. Okay. And these are already more interesting questions, like okay, male student living when born in Istanbul. Well, clearly, if you want to do the same for weight, you just change height for weight, and you will get the same result. It's not, you can probably do it immediately here. Like, let's try something. I want to add mean weight, and let me drop this one, and I will put mean, mean height and mean weight. Okay. And we get NA because we only dropped NA from height. I think the easy way is to also drop here, no? So you see, now we got something that looks more interesting. In one command, we essentially get the average weight for female left and right-handed, male left and right-handed, and average height and average weight. We can add medians and standard deviation or whatever. But the basic powerful thing here is using group by. Now, we can also group by city and take the average of city, but since there are so many cities, we probably want to do something kind of Istanbul or outside Istanbul. I would like to have a like Istanbul, yes or no. And for that, I want to do it in a minute because I want to show you one more thing before we finish that I guess you kind of know. That was also one proposal, no? Body mass index. You know BMI, no? I wrote the formula by memory. I'm not completely sure. Is this the formula? Yes, no? Is this the formula for body mass index? Yes or no? Can you someone confirm or deny? Or did you Google it?
Yes, it's correct.
Correct, okay. And I want to see the top 3 and the bottom 3, the most heavy and the most thin people, okay? I'm always the top 3, so. How we do that? We need a new column.
With mutate, maybe?
Exactly. So let me copy the questions, body mass index. That was the question that I want. Body mass index. So first, chunk. What do we do here? Student. What else? I will not drop anything yet. I will just do mutate. Maybe we can do, let's say, mutate. How we use mutate? I don't remember, so I go and see mutate. So you are right that we have to remember the name of the command, hopefully, or have an idea at least. By the way, you remember that you have this summary. It's an official summary and you can use it. So you don't need to remember, you just need to see this. It's the official help of the tool. So mutate, what we'll do with mutate? Mutate is add new variables and preserve the existing one. Transmute, add new and drop the old one. So we want to keep the one. We want to keep all, and what is the format here? Let's say the rows are not affected. The order is, and there's some this is interesting. We can take a look at this later. If else is super interesting. These are super interesting and can be useful. But let's see. Select mutate.
I'm not sure, but I wrote on chat.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I was thinking something. Well, the names are let's start with what you wrote. Yeah, it's a good starting point. There is two details here. First, that if you see, you need to give a name. You need to give a name to the new column. So it's not enough to put them. We need to give a name to the new column. And I suggest the name is BMI. Okay? Body mass index. A name, in general, is good to choose name that makes sense. Then, in our case,
You should use comma after BMI.
No, equal. Look, mutate new name equal the formula. You see?
I also wrote something to the chat.
Yeah, that is the one that we saw, because the only problem here is that there is nothing called weight. We have something called weight kilograms, and height is why not? Height in centimeters. And just yeah, let's see what happened. You can always see in what happened, and the column that we had before, they are still there, and we have BMI. And some of them are NA because some of the data might be missing. No, there is something wrong here. Or no? No, it's fine. No, the formula for BMI take the height in meters. Do you see the point, no? If you look for BMI, weight is in kilos and height is in meters, not in centimeters. Okay? Fine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can say /100 after height centimeters.
Yeah, exactly. We divide by 100 because the number had to make sense. I was checking the numbers, but it's fine. This is the kind of thing that you do, you test and you experiment. Fine, fine. Now we say the top three. I will do arrange by BMI. And to be honest, we want to see what we want to see. Let's say we see ID. Okay, let's put in different lines. You see, when the comments start to get long, it's much better to do it in different lines. So you see what are the steps. You take a student, you add a new column, you sort by that column, and then you select the column that are relevant. What are the columns that are relevant here? I will take ID, I will take sex, if you like, to know if they are, let's say if a boy or girl, just to see something. Height, weight, and BMI. I think these are values that are useful to see now. Okay. Yeah, so these are sorted. This, unsurprisingly, the lower, I mean, I'm not surprised. Okay, maybe I'm biased, but if the values are correct, because sometimes people don't say the correct thing, the lower body mass index are typically female, and the highest are typically male. So these are the top 3, if you like, or the bottom 3. I don't know, sorted. Wait. Arrange. We can change the order, no? I put here and I press F1 to see the help. And there is an option, desk. The NA are always in the end. And how we use descending. Let's see an example, key here. So we will arrange by body mass index, but descending. Going down. Yeah, so the 3 higher body mass index are male and the 3 lower are female. And the last ones are probably the NA, so these are not useful. So how we take the first 3? Sorry, let me show the original question. Say show the top 3 and the bottom 3. We take student, we mutate, adding a new column, we arrange descending, so we get the more heavy here. We select the interesting column, and how we take the top 3. You can say Bilmiorus. I think I mentioned it.
We can summarize function with first and last.
First and last. Interesting. Interesting. That is an interesting approach. I didn't think about that. So you say summarize. There is an option that you say is first and last. Range means something like this. Okay, position first, last. Okay, let's see. First, what is first? And you say first, but they give you, but okay, you have to say first, then the second, then the third. They are not giving a range. Yeah, maybe to get the first. Okay, let's try as you say. You say like summarize, and you say here, what was the summarize you want to say? But it will give you only one value. No, it's not exactly what I'm thinking. But let's see. Let's follow your idea. But I think it's not giving you everything. It's giving you only the top weight. Summarize first. What is the name? Yeah, let's put first. BMI. Let's see what happened. Yeah, you get the highest, but you don't get any other detail. No, I was thinking, I at the very classic, when we start seeing the data, I show you a command called head. That is giving you the top 6 by default, but you can say, but I will show you another that I found here, F1. Head takes a variable and how many, and you can, by default is 6, but you can say n equal 3. Show me the top 3. That is one solution. This is the top 3, and for the female, it should be you have to change this sort. And let's do this. I want to do the female now. I will copy, but I will use a different function that I found here. So now, so this is for this are the top BMI, and then this Let's put big letter here. Are the lowest BMI. So here the sort is not descending, is from smaller to biggest. And instead of head, I want to test this. When we have this, what is this? Not summarize, or maybe was it? Here. See also, say filter, we know, mutate, we know, rename, I don't know, but I can guess. Rename is essentially, what is rename? It's changing the name of a column, no? Select, we know. Summarize, we know. Slice. If I am not wrong, slice take rows by position. It's like head and tail, or what is it? Yeah, slice head, slice tail. That is the official way to do it. Slice head, yeah. No. Slice my, slice min. Interesting. What is a slice min? Max. Slice max. Each column not modified, group not modified method slice. Okay, we have to try. Maybe there is one that kind of do max automatically. The automatically give us the max values, and you can say how many. I mean, interesting. There is an even better way. So let's try. Head. So one option was slice head, and here we say that we want 3. What is happening? We detect what is not empty and make an error. Where is my error? Let's put n equal 3. Yeah, I have to say explicit n equal 3. So we have the classic head and a slice head, but since we read this one, we see that there's something called slice max and slice min. And that probably means that we can save the arrange. So let's try this.
Sir, I couldn't understand the difference between head and slice head.
I think there's no difference. I think that this slice head is part of the dplyr. And you remember that what we are using all this dplyr is the new tools, the tools in this book, the things that have been created in the last, I don't know, 5 years or so. So R is a language existing for, I don't know, 20 years or maybe more. So they are, in general, kind of classical way of doing things and the new way. And they have some overlap. So they are essentially the same thing, except that the head, the plain head is the classical one, and the slice head is the new one. In this case, they do exactly the same. It's essentially 2 names. The point is this: the people who are doing slice, they have to put themselves in all the cases. You see here in the screen, I have a slash a min, max, sample. There are different ways of doing the slicing, and it kind of, if you already did everything, why you are not also putting head? For example, there is another, you can say proportion, you can say, for example, you want the top 10%, and that is something that the other head doesn't have. So essentially they say, okay, we're doing the same and trying to do it a little better and trying to be coherent. For this question, both answers are good, but let's try. I don't know what will happen here, but let's say slice max and see what happened here. I will try to find the lowest body mass index. We need the mutate, and I will just here the missing part is, if I understand correctly, we can do something like this. We can say slice min to get the smallest value, ordered by a BMI. And we want, let's write here, order by BMI. Yeah, maybe it's better to write the option so we can understand what is happening here. And then we say n equal, how many we want? 3. And then we do the pipe again, and let's see what happens. If I understand correctly, this should be the same result. I get 4. Ah, interesting. Okay. Can you tell me what happened here? I got an interesting result that I didn't expect.
Maybe it starts
BMI.
from 0.
So one, okay, run.
Go
Yeah.
run.
Last two BMIs are the same.
Exactly. They are tied. So you see there is a difference. It's a small, subtle difference, but it's a difference. Here, what we say is this: take the student, calculate body mass index, sort by body mass index, give me the top 3. We can change the order here, maybe. Something like this. Give me the top 3, and then you select the column. Okay. We sort and we chose the top 3. Here, we are saying take the top 3 BMI value and give me everything that matches with that. So in the case of a tie, like we got here, the first answer is incomplete. We see 3 people, but there is another person with exactly the same values. So kind of the second answer is more correct. Even if we ask for 3, again, it's kind of the question that Khan asked first. Shall we take distinct or not? In the first case, we have 3 people. In the second case, we have 3 body mass indices. And the people with these 3 body mass indices. You see the difference, no? One is 3 people, the other is 3 body mass. Okay, I think we have seen kind of the complete part. I should probably write the comment here. I will share this with you, but I will write some comment before sharing, okay? So this document will be kind of more explaining what is happening. But in summary, what we have, let's see, this is the last slide. Yes, it was the last slide. What we did, quick look. Let's make it here. We can take a look here and see what we got. What are the new things that we did today? Yeah, I say I cheated. I say that we are going to practice, but we not only practice, we also show something new. I'm sorry. Okay, this is it. Good. So let's go at the very beginning. The first thing that we say is that you have to start by loading the libraries. Try to do it in the first line. Then load data. In the exam, I think we are going to have them together. This is the old way. Remember, we have kind of old way and new way. The old way is using vectors. The new way is using filter. So we learn to use filter and we learn to use cable to make the output to look nicer output. Okay, blah, 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 blah. What else? We have select to choose some columns and then beautiful. So in general, input data, process, output. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Then maybe this table is long. So one exercise, if you like, is to find if there is a nicer way to use instead of cable. What alternative we have to the command cable? Here we sorted by sorting. We added this arrange. Sorting, we start sorting by birth date. It can be sorted by weight, sort by anything that can be sorted, no? And we saw that some cases are repeated. So when we're repeated, we learn the command distinct. So, and we also learned that distinct works after you select. I mean, if you have several columns, distinct will work with all the columns. If you have less columns, distinct will work with the column that you preserve. So for example, here, distinct is considering birth date, birthplace, and ID. If someone put the same data, for example, this, look. Here, the ID is the same, therefore it's the same person. The birth date is the same, but the birthplace, this person was born in 2 places at the same time. I don't know. I think this person wrote one year and wrote something different in another year. No? What can it be? But you see, if we select ID, this is also interesting. I noticed it. This person was in Aleppo and then in Istanbul. So I guess that sometimes when people fill the survey, they don't pay too much attention. They don't care. But then we find them and we know that they lied. And we know. That is why I'm not showing the names, but I know the names of everybody here. Then what we have here, here we didn't use cables, so they don't look so nice, but we start counting, and the basic trick is here is summarize. Now, the trick is this: if I tell you summarize, you say, wonderful, it's one function, but it is not, because inside summarize you need other functions. So you really need to look at the help. You should always use the help, and when you go to summarize, you see that there are functions inside summarize. So you have to know mean, median. Well, these are easy. First, last, end. So you have to, well, maybe more than, but with summarize and with mutate, you have extra function that you have to take a look. For example, we mutate, and this is important because we may use, I'm not sure, but I think in the exam we may use some of this one, lead, lag, or consume, or something like that. Okay? These are functions used for creating new columns. Essentially, these are functions that take one column and give you another column of the same size. This may be useful. Yeah. For example, I was thinking, well, it's not so easy, and we will do it later. I was thinking that we have in the current data, we have city and country separated with a slash. I was thinking that we can use mutate to take everything before the slash, and that will give city, and everything after the slash, and that will give you country. To count how many people from different countries or so. So what else we have? We learned to do summarize total distinct. This is, you see this is counting with repetition. This is counting without repetition, which is similar to this one, except that here the order is important. You do the select first and then distinct. Remember that in many cases the order is important. Not always, but in many cases order is important. Then we went to summarize again, and now we are not counting, but taking mean or median. And when you get to summarize, you quickly get to the real thing is group by here. Well, these are kind of testing that we did, but the real thing is here, group by. Because it allows you quickly to see average, medians, or so with different. Well, here we probably need to put cable. But for example, this is a nice question I find. Filter boys and girls and left and right, and quickly see all the combinations. Then we add a new column with mutate, and again, as I say, mutate has functions, and we have slice. Slice was the other one. So yeah, so we used all the tools that we said that we are going to use, and we add the new tools. So we use filter, select, arrange, mutate, summarize, group by, and in arrange we learn to use descending. In mutate, we see that there are functions that we should check. In summarize, we use n, and we use n distinct. We learn the command distinct, we learn the command cable, and we learn what else? What I am forgetting? No, I think that's. I don't have a homework right now, but if I can think of something, I will give you a homework, like practicing for the midterm. Because you realize the midterm is going to be something like this, no? I'm going to give you a data table, and I'm going to ask you some questions, and you will have to write this. All the answers are like this. All the answers are something like this. You take this, then you do this, this, and you get the result. Fine?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
When will midterm happen? When will we do homework? Midterm?
Good question. Well, the strategy is this. It's a homework. It's a homework. Okay. The only difference is that in normal homework, you can talk with your friends. Here, you should not talk. I mean, not cheat. Do not copy code. Do not share code. If you don't understand, try to ask in the forum. It's like an open question. I don't understand this question. Okay, even more. When you don't understand, you have to start explaining what part you do understand. In this question, there are three parts. I understand the question 1, I understand the question 2, but I don't understand the question 3. I read and I don't, I imagine this, or what are the alternative or something like, because sometimes people say like, I don't understand, but you don't know what part you don't understand. I mean, it's a long subject, and you have to say what part you understand, what part you don't understand. Ask the questions in the forum, and we have kind of enough time. I hope the exam can be solved like in half day. You sit one afternoon and you finish it. But since we are not in a hurry, in general, you will have time to answer it. My recommendation is don't wait till the last day. Start early. Start early, so it's not a race. It's not a question of doing it fast. And you can Google things. The only important thing is that your answer is yours. Okay. And if I find anything that looks like cheating, no mercy. You get, if anything like cheating, you get 0, and then you can go to the DN and try to get better grades.
Sir, can you share practice class 9? This you did this.
I will, but I have to finish it. I will have to write the comment. So
Okay,
yes,
thank you.
Everything is shared. Did I in general, I think I give you everything, no?
And there is not class 17.
Yeah, there's no slides, but the class 17 is a video.
Okay.
Do you remember?
Actually, there is a link in your website below.
Yeah, that's
the
what
classes.
the website is the authority here. So, and I also think that I put in the axis. Everything I put in axis and in the website. So class 15, 16, and this is class 17. Essentially because I found that video explained everything that I wanted to explain better than I can explain and shorter, so I don't find any reason. And you have many other videos, and by the way, you have all these things. Yeah, maybe I can share more videos. So take a look at these videos. I think I can share more videos with you about this part. Okay.
I mean that not slides. You're working area practice class 9.
Yeah. No, I know. But I'm thinking that there should be a link here. I think in general we shared everything, but yeah, you are right. I don't see here the link. Yeah, I will put the links to all the practice that we did in class 15 and class 18. We have class 15, class 18, and this class that we did something, and yeah, we will do that.
Thank you.
There should be a link here. That is what I was expecting, because I normally put a link here. Good that you ask. Anything else? Now, there is a point that you should be aware that when people read, people feel that they understand and they don't understand. If you read the slides and you read what I write, you will feel, hopefully, you will feel that you understand. But that is not understanding. You really understand when you can write it. If you don't write it, if you are not solving the problem, your own problems, then you are not really learning. Don't think this is not about memory. This is not like you read something and you remember it. There is nothing to remember here, or very little to remember. This is about creating something new. So you have to do it new. Okay? And there is a physical thing. That's why I ask everybody to write the homework. It's something that you learn. I mean, you cannot pipette without fingers. So here you pipette with this finger. So you have to do it with your own hands. Okay. Any other question?
No.
Heads are moving sideways. Okay, so if heads are moving sideways, then my hand will be also moving sideways. And good luck with the midterms. I have to write it. So ask question in the forum, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Görüşürüz.